Margaret Kuhlman of Soul Astrology. The chart for this new moon is quite a shock, with that almost precise, exact square. It involves the 4 mutable signs, and so very different from cardinal sign square or fixed sign square. The mutable square has a sort of dance with it, where we flicker from one corner to another. So although there are all 4 elements involved, they're not directly fighting each other, and nor are they totally incompatible. So it's a chart of great interest, and most beautifully we have Venus right on the 14 degrees of the new moon. So it's about enjoying the dance. Jupiter squaring from Virgo on the one hand tends to emphasize, increase, exaggerate the flexibility, the movement, the many possibilities. But in Virgo it's very much bent towards doing the thing that works, and on the North Node that thing that works will be the right thing. On the other side we have the square to Neptune in Pisces, which adds a little mystery to the whole thing. Definitely about not knowing what's coming up, what will happen when it gets here, what the results will be. And the not knowing that sometimes reveals a path that you didn't think was there, that you now have to take. Opposite to the Venus is Saturn. Saturn retrograding now through Sagittarius, searching for meaning as we go along, not getting the meaning right all the time with its own square to Neptune, but always prepared to have another look, find another answer, go a different way if necessary. A very striking piece this month is that Mars has just gone back into Scorpio. In fact, it's going to rake through from the 30 degrees back into 23 degrees before turning and going forwards again, digging up, as it were, all the stuff that it revealed when it first went through, which was the second half of February until the 6th of March. And I'm noticing that the things that were happening then, that just revealed themselves then, have actually begun to resurface for the next stage of their evolution. It continues to retrograde to that 23rd degree until the 29th of June. So the whole of June has this retrograde digging up flavour. And for the following month of July until the very early August, it'll be going forwards through the same area. On the 2nd of August it goes into Sagittarius proper and then stays direct for the next couple of years. A beautiful thing about this reworking of a deeply held emotional area is that in order to do this it has to pass the trine to Chiron over and over. It passed it in the first place, so still in February, but it goes back over that degree and then forwards over that degree, the 25 degrees. So this whole process is meant to be about healing, but it does mean that we have to be prepared to allow that deep wounded level to show itself. It's not just personal, of course, it's also global. Another thing which shows in this chart is the continuing connection of Mercury to Jupiter and Pluto. It's coming away from that connection, but it's still sort of reverberating in our thoughts. Very practical, very down to earth. Actually understanding the changes that have to be made, particularly to our lifestyle, our organisation of life and our health, and making the changes which will last. And this is where the Pluto connection to Neptune shows that if we go through that acceptance of transformation being the way to go, we line up with the spiritual movement, which feels perhaps at present like a deep current strongly pulling underneath the surface, while we scatter about over the waves, a very choppy sea. The full moon chart shows the moon on the very last degree of Sagittarius, whereas this time last month it was at the very beginning of Sagittarius. So as though this month between the two full moons, something has been worked, discovered. It goes past that Saturn point in the middle, and the first half of this month is showing again the understanding that we arrive at through this exploration. What we are exploring is all those unknown things that turn up in our path and have been turning up for some weeks now, if not months. The full moon chart also shows Jupiter even closer to that trine to Pluto, even closer again to the North Node, which is retrograding onto it. So through the second half of the month, any understandings we've arrived at will manifest the transformation. As long as we don't struggle too hard to control it, to go where we thought we were supposed to go, when life is clearly offering us a different path. It's as though fighting against this current can only exhaust us. And the most relaxing, easy, and eventually rewarding way is to relax and let the current take us, even if it seems to be in all sorts of different directions on different days. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. The important thing is to maintain a sense of centre, to stay centred within oneself, so that somewhere in the midst of all this chopping and changing, we know that we are steady, rooted in spirit. We are a spirit, experiencing some of the amazingly extraordinary things that the earth has to offer. At the full moon, the sun is about to leave Gemini, reaching its solstice point at the beginning of Cancer on the very next day, joining Venus, who's already got there. So the second half of the month also is emphasizing a more caring version of love, where it's not the words that matter. It's the heart, not the head. Throughout a month, which starts with the new moon in Gemini, communication is going to be extremely important. As soon as Mercury moves from Taurus into Gemini on the 13th of June, this emphasis becomes even clearer. And because Mercury on this occasion puts itself into that square with the other mutable signs, we need to be careful how we say things, what we say. Say only what we mean. Be honest. Don't argue for the sake of it, trying to prove a point. Let the words go into the past, always, and focus the heart more into the caring, the kindness. Don't worry if you find yourself unable to focus. Don't worry if you find you've made a mistake. It's a simple matter to correct, a simple thing to apologize. We make a meal of these things through our pride, a fear of losing who we are. But in truth we are safe. In truth, we are what we are, one with everything. Go well this month. Enjoy yourself. You are safe. The foundations you build from the people in your world will support you through all that is to come. There is no need for fretting and fear. All is well. 1,000 times all is well. Hold your hand towards the sun and see how light shines peachy through the flesh. Let the flesh of your world melt into the light, so that you may see, and see clearly, that all is well, because there is no other possibility in the wholeness within which you expand and dissolve into eternity and beyond.